Welcome to the UGC EPG Pathshala lecture series in computer science. In this series of lectures, we have been looking at the subject database management system. For the past two sessions, we have been looking at the importance of data mining, which is one of the very hot requirement in today's generation. So this session also I will try continuing on same data mining, and we will be looking closer into the pre-processing techniques which seems to be the preliminary of data mining, and we will start continuing on the higher value sets which will be like association rules, classification, clustering and so. So let us start the discussion for this particular session. Some of the learning objectives for this session include: let us try to understand the various discretization methods that is required for pre-processing with the largest value data sets. Then we will try to elicit on the various noise handling methods, because as a first stage towards pre-processing we will do a data cleansing process. During the phase of data cleansing, we will try to fill up the missing value, we will try to reduce the noise as much as possible, for which we may have to do a lot of methods. So we will try to elicit on various noise handling methods. Later we will try to study on the importance of different dimensionality reduction techniques, and finally we will try studying on the data mining operations and techniques. This is something that we have seen in the past session. Let me just recall from the previous session. Data pre-processing plays a vital role so that the data is actually fed in a format, so that we can reduce the data value and we can fetch out the actual data that is as desired by the user. So as a process of pre-processing, we will do data cleansing first, where we will try filling in missing values. We will do smoothing of noisy data. We will try identifying and removing the outliers and resolve inconsistencies. So the first half of the presentation will talk on how this data cleansing or cleaning is being done as part of the large volume data sets. Later, after this stage, we will try doing an integration part, where from different data sources, if you take for example the ETL process that has been done as part of data warehousing, where we extract data not from a homogeneous source, or the data that is available on the data warehouse is not typically a homogeneous data, it will be heterogeneous format. So in that particular case, all the heterogeneous data are to be merged and to be brought in a format that is as desired by the query. So we will try transforming after that. So we will do transformation, where we will try normalizing and aggregation. We will do data reduction, thereby we will try reducing the dimensionality of the data. As we already, or you might recall, with data warehousing we have gone for n different dimensions. I have told you the major advantage of getting on to the large database is primarily not concentrating on a typical relation. Instead, you can go from 2 dimension to 3 dimension, 4 dimension, 5th dimension, and maximum up to n dimensions. And finally, we will do discretization, which will be data reduction, but a particular importance especially for numerical data. Let us study a very simple discretization methods, which is called binning. This binning I will try to explain with two different partitioning methods. One is on equal width, the other one is on equal depth. If you consider equal width, basically by looking at the distance between every data set if it is plotted on a graphical form. So when we do an equi-width partitioning, we try dividing the entire values in a range into n intervals of equal size. Say we may have to divide all the data values into equal size, so that we form a uniform grid. Let us assume A and B are the lowest and highest values of attributes, then the width of intervals will be W is equal to B minus A divided by n. Looking at the number of intervals, highest value minus the lowest value divided by the total number of intervals, equi-sized intervals that we look at. So that is how we try dividing into uniform format in your equi-width distance partitioning method. So, this becomes a most straightforward approach, but then if you look at the number of outliers, this may dominate the entire presentation. So, skewed data is not handled well. Any data which is trying to be skewed is not being handled tremendously by this particular approach. In contrast, we have another approach which is called equi-depth approach, that is equal depth in terms of frequency partitioning, where we try dividing the overall range given into n intervals, each containing approximately same number of samples. So, this is a very good data scaling approach. We will understand how it has been a very good data scaling approach. This manages categorical attributes and it can be tricky. Let us study one of the very good binning methods which can be used for data smoothing. May it be taken like this, say sorted data for price. I have initially tried sorting all the data values which are mentioning the price value, say in 1000 rupees. So, 4000, 8000 likewise, but then I have made it as 4, 8, 9 in the ascending order. So, by performing an equi-depth bins, so when we try to partition by equi-depth bins, I will have equal number of bins of 4 in size for every bin. So, bin 1 will carry 4 values, 4 data values starting from starting from number 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. So, totally how many different values that exist? Say the highest value is 34, the lowest value is 4, 34 minus 4 which will be 30 divided by the total number of values available makes it to 4 bins. So, 4, 8, 9, 15 becomes 1, 21 again the same value 21, 24, 25 becomes the second bin, 26, 28, 30, 29, 34 becomes the third bin. So, here there are two in the second bin, a value of 21 is being repeated twice, but it is needless a point that we may have to look at that. This is, of course, in our opinion we know that this is a redundant data, but we are not looking at redundant data now, but what we are trying to do is we are trying to partition it. So, when we wish to smoothen the bin, let us consider binning by mean method. So, by taking the mean, that is, if you consider the first bin, the overall mean is supposed to be calculated as 9. So, the entire bin is replaced by the means, and bin 2 we take the mean of all the 4 values, that becomes 23. So, that is being replaced by the value 23, and the mean of the last 4 values in the third bin becomes 29. So, when we smooth it by the bin boundaries, this is by binning mean method, but then when we smooth it by the bin boundaries, where is the deviation? Say looking at the difference between the first value and the second value, it falls under the minimum value. Looking at the first value and the third value, it falls under the third value. Likewise, bin 1 by boundary based method, the first 3 values are smoothed with respect to the minimum and the maximum boundaries. So, let us take for example bin 2, where between 21, 1 and 2 compared together, it is an equal value. So, the value is considered to be the same. So, between the bin boundaries, lowest bin boundary and the second largest bin boundary, this is not closest as compared to the upper value of the bin boundary. So, that has been replaced by the upper bin boundary value. So, this is another smoothing method by where we will normalize, we will try smoothing all the binning values. The other approach becomes cluster analysis approach, where we group values together, but then this gives us a complete opinion on how many outliers does this have. Say all the values which are equal in distance or which has almost similar frequency are mapped together, but then there exists an outlier. The values that you can see it here, these are said to be the outliers, where the distance between a common mean value of the cluster 1 might be far away from, or in terms of distance it is very far away from, either you consider a lowermost data value or you consider a mean data value. Whatever it might be, this is seemed to be an outlier. So, just for an indication of what an outlier mean, this is the actual presentation. So, after having looked at the data cleaning, now it is the process of converting all the data. So, it is the time for us to integrate all the data. So, when I mean by integration, data from different data sources are tried to combine together, and we will try using it for different applications. Say for example, by data integration, I pull out data from either unstructured or structured data. It can be a cleansed data, it can be from some data modeling, it can be from a third party data interface, it can be from data migration, it can be from data profiling. So, several data from different data sources, from legacy data sources we can input data values. So, from several data values I am trying to get the input, and my objective here is to convert the entire data into a common format. So, I am trying to integrate all the data together so that it becomes very easier for me to understand how the query representation would be and what is the expectation of my user. So, this data integration combines data from multiple sources into a coherent store. Not only data integration, it also has a potential of managing the schema. So, schema integration can also be done, where we try integrating the metadata from different data sources. So, every data in turn will have its own metadata. As you might recall, during the phase of data warehousing, I would have talked to you about metadata, which is nothing but a data about a data. That means, if I consider a specific data value, all the related items that are pertaining to a particular data value should also be extracted. So, the schema integration not only takes up only the data values that is relevant to this data set or relevant to this application, instead it considers metadata from different data sources. So, this leads unnecessarily for an entity identification problem. So, what is the entity that we may have to use when we use a schema? This identifies real world entities from multiple data sources. For example, when we consider a customer ID called a.customer ID is equal to b.customer, instead of ID I might mention it as customer number. So, this can be easily mapped. On one particular relation I would have given it as an ID, and other relation I would have had a hash symbol which represent a number or an ID. So, now that we may have, it is not needless to say that this ID should be a unique representation in different data sources. So, it can be replaced by a symbol also. So, that need to be presented as well. So, this kind of entity identification problem need to be detected and resolved for data value conflicts. So, for some of the real world entity, attribute values from different sources are different. So, the possible reasons might be different representations over different scales, that is, we use different matrices like British unit versus a common metric. This might lead to unnecessarily a problem of data value conflicts. As I have already told you, different relations might carry different value data value. Say for example, if I measure the size of the room, most common representation would be in terms of square feet. Some might measure in form of square centimeter or square meter. Likewise, the representation varies. So, the major common representation, having different representations, we may have to bring all the data together in very common representations. Not only that, the scales also need to be defined. So, after we have done a cleansing and integration, now it is a point of looking at the redundant data. What would I do in case of repetitive data or redundant data? How do I handle it? So, redundant data occur often when integration of multiple data sources. When I try integrating multiple data values, say for example, if I try integrating from 2 or 3 different data sources on the same explanation that I have given, looking at the measurement of a size of a room, then supposing that I have mentioned the entire room size is 5 by 10, then in that case you might ask me a question of whether it is square feet or square centimeter or square meter. I create 3 different attributes, one says square feet, second one says square centimeter, and the third one says square meter, becomes an unnecessary redundant data. So how do we handle this redundant data within this data mining format? So the same attribute may have different names in different databases. So here one database stores the entire value in square centimeter, the other database carries the value in square meter, the other database carries in square feet. So when I try integrating all the data, integration doesn't mean that all the data values from different sources need to be taken and to be presented in this table. So thereby data mining does not give us a complete intention that the size of the database should increase so as to make the data values redundant. So it is not the intention, rather we may have to avoid redundant informations here too. So one attribute may be derived attribute in another table. Say for example, the annual revenue that we look at, we may have derived attributes here. So redundant data may be able to detect by, we may be able to detect this redundant data by correlation analysis. We will look at what this correlation analysis mean. So by looking at integration of data from multiple data sources, this may help reduce, or at times we can completely eradicate or avoid redundancies and inconsistencies. So this redundancy and inconsistency plays a vital role when I try creating, whether it could be a database or data mining, and this improves mining speed and quality. So after trying on the integration component of data, we may have to now transform the given data into the actual format that is required by the user. So as I have told you initially, whether it could be a warehouse creation or a process of data mining, this ETL, abbreviation of ETL, acronym ETL is very much important. Why? Because initially we try extracting or pulling out data from different data sources. The first letter of ETL, which is E, stands for extract. The second letter stands for transform, T means transform, and the final third one is L, load. So when we pull out all the data, we are extracting data from different data sources. We may have to transform all the data as required by the user, then we may have to load it in the warehouse. So we do all this pre-processing basically to look at how efficient the data can be presented, because we use data warehouse and data mining primarily for efficiency, improvising on the efficiency of the data process. So by doing this data transformation, we may have to remove the noise from the data. So by doing a smoothing operation, which I have told you earlier, by either doing a binning process or so, we will try completely removing the noisy data. We will do aggregation, whereby we will do summarization and convert into or construct a new data cube. Data cube is just a 3-dimensional representation. And generalization, which we have a concept hierarchy climbing. All these things we would have seen it during the phase of data warehousing phase itself. And finally we try to normalize all the data scaled to fall within a small specified range. So now that all these data seeming to be segregated, now I do a transformation process so as to bring it into a very common structural approach. So by normalization, we can do a min-max normalization, we can look at z-scores normalization, we can do a normalization by decimal scaling. So these are different normalization techniques that helps us transform all the data into the format which we wanted. And finally we do an attribute feature construction, which is nothing but creation of new attributes which are constructed from the given ones. So we tend to actually pick out all the data values or attributes which can actually form a meaningful entity as part of a relation. One other phase of the same data pre-processing technique is data reduction. Although we have voluminous attributes, voluminous data values, voluminous entities, now that we may have done, or we have done a procedure of data reduction. So, we have already done a process of transforming and we have looked at redundant data. So, one such approach is your data reduction strategy. So, warehouse may store terabytes of data or more than terabytes of data. So, we might, because of these much storage of terabytes of data, we might land up with complex data analysis or mining. So, this may take a very long time to run on the complete data set. Say for example, terabytes of data, we have millions and millions of records to be searched for. So, if at all I am to search for millions of records from the database, this might take a long time. So, this, if it has been reduced or optimized as needed by the user, then the total time for getting the output might be as well reduced. So, we may have to perform a data reduction strategy which obtains a reduced representation of data set that is much smaller in volume, but it produces the same analytical results. So, whatever we wanted or whatever we got with the previous output with large volume output, now that we may have to produce the same volume or the same result, but with a reduced data set. So, some of the data reduction strategies include aggregation by data cube. So, data cube aggregation, dimensionality reduction. Say from higher dimension we can break it up to smaller dimensions which can lead to the same result. Numerosity reduction, thereby we reduce it by numerical values. Discretization and concept hierarchy generation. So, this we have seen it already in terms of bin segregation. Let us see what a dimensionality reduction mean. Dimensionality, one of the dimensionality reduction technique is by identifying the feature selection approach. So, we have a list of attributes which are termed as subset which is to be selected. So, select a minimum set of features such that the probability distribution of different classes given the values for those features is as close as possible to the original distribution given the values of all features. So, having listed the entire list of features, but then we are almost to select the subset of it, minimum list of features which gains us in an understanding of reduced number of patterns. So, the intention is to get reduced number of patterns from the pattern list, which makes us easier to understand on this database rather than the overall database that makes us a complex procedure for us to get a result analysis done. So, this can be done either by feature selection or by some of the heuristic methods. These heuristic methods are due to exponential number of choices. Maybe we can do by stepwise forward selection. So, on a forward move, what are to be done at each and every process can be defined, and after clear definition of every selection feature forward selection, we can do a feature identification process or backward elimination. Going backwards, what and all should be eliminated. So, I proceed backwards so that I tend to eliminate some of the major list of features that is unwanted for this particular scenario. Or we can make a combined approach where we have a forward selection and backward elimination which can be done in parallel. So, this in comparison with software engineering where we would have studied as fan in and fan out concept. Likewise, we can either do a top down hierarchy or a bottom up strategy. Likewise, forward approach and backward elimination approach would help us identify the actual or the required number of feature sets that is required for excellent selection of the relation. And finally, we have decision tree induction method which would indicate us what is the loop that or in the entire hierarchy, in the entire hierarchical representation, what is that would lead us to the exact result. One other data pre-processing stage is on the compression. So, after doing the entire phase of pre-processing, now that we are bringing the entire data value into a shape that is more accommodatable for it to process to the next level. So, one certain approach is the data compression technique. By data compression, we can either do a string compression or audio video compression or time sequence compression, but not in the audio. So, string compression is, there are extensive theories and well tuned algorithms, as you might know. This is a separate field where we can compress on the data, and by looking at compression, we certainly expect a lossless compression to happen rather than lossy compression. So, certain data values are not to be missed. So, by reducing the data or by reducing the unwanted noise, we cannot say that the entire data value has also been lost. So, we require a lossless compression to happen as far as data is concerned in the data mining algorithms, but only limited manipulation is possible without expansion. So, we may have to do a little bit of normalization when we try proceeding for the next few stages. And typically, by looking at audio video compression, mostly audio video compression looks at lossy compression strategy with progressive refinement. Stage after stage, this loss will then be tried transforming. So, sometimes we may have small fragments of signal that has to be actually reconstructed without the whole frame, and the third one is based on the time sequence and not audio. So, typically very short and very slowly with respect to time. In short, in this particular session we have looked at data pre-processing, which seems to be the very preliminary and the fundamental thing that is most wanted for extracting knowledge from a given database. So, by data pre-processing, as you might know, data pre-processing typically involves data cleaning, data integration, data transformation and data reduction. To perform data cleaning, which is to majorly eliminate on some of the noisy values, some of the data which is unnecessarily lost has to also been given as an input. So, by looking at the different techniques like equi-depth and equi-width, we can do a level of smoothing which can bring out the data in the actual form. And the other thing that we have seen is extracting data from different data sources. This has not taken data from homogeneous data source, this has been from heterogeneous data source. So, data integration plays a vital role, and we try to transform all the given data into the format as desired by the warehouse, so that this would extract in the way and with ultimate time, say time becomes a key point, and efficiency of the data also plays a vital role, for which we may have to do some data reduction strategies also. By performing all this, we are bringing the actual data into a form, into a representation which can actually lead us to very good knowledge process. Thank you.